Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Posi-TIPS with Rachelle. Continuing this important series on adversity lessons. Last time I highlighted the importance of purpose and priorities. We really think about our lives and how important it is that we evaluate what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. So I'm going to take this conversation a step deeper this time and talk about motives. Motives. See, that's the thing about it. You've heard me say that adversity, nothing refines and develops our character like adversity. Adversity will challenge us in ways unimagined in many cases. And so it's the facades, the masks, all of this and that, the phoniness, superficiality can be burned off in the fires of adversity. And so when we think about, because again, we're now, our lives are on literally the pause button has been hit on lives across the globe. And so that's why I always say the challenge is to take this time to reflect, to evaluate what is working in our life, what's not working, what we can do differently. But we have to take responsibility for that. I mean, this is huge. Can't walk around blaming people, pointing fingers. Why didn't this person do this and this person didn't do that and they didn't do this? No, folks, there's two positions we can take in life. We can either be victims or we can be victors. So whether the choice is ours, the choice is truly ours. But what I really want us to think about today is particularly in the fires of adversity, is many people are doing a lot of soul searching, are determining that, you know what, the path I'm on isn't working, is what I'm doing is not what I want to be doing, this isn't working. I've either got to work to fix it or exit this situation. But we really got to take it down to a very granular level and think about what it is that drives us to do what we do. So motives. Folks, so much of our lives revolves around either pure motives, impure motives, honest motives, dishonest motives. And this is something when you talk about facing truth and the importance of facing truth, and I always state, we can either face truth or that same truth will come back and hit us in the face. That is so true. Why? Because what are our motives? What are our motives? People who operate with ulterior motives, in many cases, those ulterior motives become obvious. And then, relational damage has been done, professional damage has been done, damage can certainly occur on a personal level, but motives. We have to ask ourselves, are we doing what we do for the right reasons? Or are we acting out of a sense of faith? Or are we acting out of a sense of fear? Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of humiliation. Fear. I mean, the list of fears is long. So all of those anxious thoughts and insecure thoughts and self-defeating thoughts that revolve around that fear. If I don't do this, I'm going to operate in wrong motives in this situation, but that's because I'm afraid to lose this person. Folks, we've got it. This is the prime time now for us to evaluate our lives and to say, what am I doing? And second, why am I doing it? There's so many, you think about challenging situations in life, particularly situations prior to the coronavirus epidemic that maybe cause unhappiness, negativity, dread, exhaustion. What is the reason? When we think about, that old SNL skit with Debbie Downer, I've heard, Bob Bummer, Negative Ned. I mean, the list is long. When you think about the Debbie Downers of the world, why are those people like that? What has happened? But more importantly, why are you doing, why is this person or these people, perhaps it's a group of negative people, like why are they doing what they do? What are their motives? What are their motives? Are you operating, if you're running around complaining about situations in your life, circumstances in your life, particularly if you've been complaining a long time about those same situations, that is a clear sign that it's time to take responsibility and evaluate Okay, something in this situation or situations or circumstances is not working. Yet I am still in this situation or situations or circumstances. So hypothetically, the person needs to say, I need to take responsibility for this situation or circumstances that are not working. But I would just nudge in that situation. Okay, so what motives are you operating with? What motives are you operating on in these circumstances? You're clearly unhappy. Something is clearly not working. But yet you go on and on and on. So yes, there is a payoff for you. There is something that you are getting from that situation. And so we've got to think about our motives. Treating people right because it's the right thing to do. Doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Operating out of a sense of integrity. Operating out of a sense of excellence. And just recognizing that it's important to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. If you're overwhelmed at work and you're working 80 hours a week and you're miserable and your home life is suffering and has been suffering for a long time, but you're afraid to say anything. Again, see, fear. If you're afraid to say anything, is what if my coworkers get mad at me? What if my colleagues get mad at me? What if my boss gets mad at me? Okay, so what are you're operating out of, motives that revolve around that involve fear. Okay, what is the worst that can happen in that situation? But what is more importantly, again, we talked about priorities in life. You want to lose your family, or you wanted to have some challenging, perhaps some adverse circumstances, some conflict in your professional situation as you work through and navigate hopefully a successful resolution by being assertive, by speaking up, say, hey, I can't do these 80-hour weeks anymore. They've been doing it for 5 or 10 years. I can't do it. My home life is suffering. I'm on the verge of relationship breakup. My kids are all mad at me. The person needs to take responsibility for that, folks, because nothing in our life is going to change if we don't do something about it. That's just it. And so, but these wrong motives, these ulterior motives, manipulative, controlling type of motives, where, operating out of deceit, out of dishonesty, doing things with wrong motives, not being honest and a person of integrity and sincere in your interactions with people, professionally, personally, whatever the case may be. Volunteering and constantly complaining about volunteering because you're doing too much and yet you're not saying anything. You're not trying to change the situation. You're not being assertive. You're not prioritizing. See, but what are your motives? What are you getting out of? There's something an individual is getting out of that situation. Is it the need for recognition? Is it the need to feel important? Is it the need to just seem busy? Whatever the case may be, we have to evaluate motives. And that's not something I can cover in an episode like this. There's just not enough time to evaluate just the myriad different options in terms of, types of motives and why people do what they do, and the different options in terms of what drives people in terms of motives. So folks, we're human beings. We're imperfect. We're going to make mistakes. That's just our human nature. But let's own up to those mistakes. Let's try our best to take responsibility to avoid mistakes, and certainly correct mistakes that we may make or may have made. But just this motives. Think about why we're doing what we do. And particularly if there's negative situations, circumstances, relationships in your life, whatever the case may be, something is not working, something has been bad for a long time, whatever. Just take responsibility, but just evaluate. So there's some motives. There's some motives there that are enabling you to stay stuck right there with the status quo, doing nothing to improve the situation. And you deserve better than that. I'm always going to tell you, you deserve better than that, but you have to believe that you deserve better than that. So folks, that's all I have. See, again, we're all learning, growing, and becoming better people during this season of tremendous adversity. We can either let it enable us to become better individuals or bitter individuals. The choice is truly ours. So let's make the right decision. And that's all I have for you today. So until then, I cannot wait until next week. But until next week, stay as positive as humanly possible. Keep your head up. Keep persevering, and we will make it through this. So I cannot wait once again until next week. But until then, remember, I am positively passionate about your happiness and success. Make it a great day.